When FTX fell, Solana lost more than just its price. It lost trust. This is the story of how one of the fastest blockchains on Earth crashed overnight. Welcome to DCA Crypto, where we decode the stories behind the charts. Before the collapse, Solana wasn't just another blockchain. It was deeply, fundamentally tied to Sam Bankman-Fried's empire. Think of it like this. FTX, Alameda Research, and the Solana DeFi ecosystem were all intertwined, connected by a web of investments and partnerships. Alameda was one of Solana's earliest and largest backers, holding a massive amount of SOL tokens. Their financial health was Solana's health. Then there was Ethereum, Solana's flagship decentralized exchange. It wasn't just on Solana. It was launched by FTX and pushed as the central nervous system for their entire trading ecosystem. FTX used its influence to list Solana projects, funnel liquidity into its DeFi protocols, and champion it as the future of finance. The headlines were everywhere. FTX partners with Solana. Solana surges after FTX listing. For a while, this strategy worked wonders. Solana looked absolutely unstoppable. It was incredibly fast, highly scalable, and backed by billions of dollars in liquidity. The narrative was powerful. This was the blockchain that would finally solve the scalability trilemma, the one that could handle the world's financial traffic. The market believed it. Investors poured in, and its ecosystem blossomed. It was the golden child of the bull run, the proclaimed Ethereum killer. But this deep connection, once its greatest strength, would soon become its greatest liability. But then came November 2022. The crypto world learned a brutal, devastating truth. FTX wasn't the institution it pretended to be. It was a house of cards built on deception. When the exchange collapsed under the weight of its own fraud, everything tied to it went down in flames, and Solana was at the epicenter of the explosion. Overnight, the fallout was catastrophic. Solana's price, which once soared to over $250, plummeted to just $8. Billions of dollars in total value locked. The lifeblood of any DeFi ecosystem evaporated almost instantly. Projects built on Solana, from the mighty Ethereum to countless smaller DeFi apps, were left stranded. Many froze their operations. Others were forced to migrate to different chains, abandoning the ecosystem they once called home. The trust that had been so carefully built was shattered. The Ethereum killer was now fighting for its own survival. The narrative shifted from inevitable success to imminent collapse. Doubts swirled. Was Solana just a centralized project propped up by FTX's money? Could it survive without its biggest backer? The future looked incredibly bleak, and many pronounced it dead on arrival. But in the rubble, something unexpected happened. The builders didn't give up. While the speculators and tourists fled, the core community of developers, creators, and validators dug in. They refused to let the network die. In a remarkable display of decentralized resilience, developers quickly launched open-source, community-led versions of Ethereum, ensuring that the core infrastructure wouldn't just vanish. Communities rallied together, organizing to keep the network secure and operational. Validators held the line, even as the value of their staked SOL tokens cratered. Developers continued shipping code, launching new applications, and improving the network's performance. The very people who had been overshadowed by the FTX narrative were now stepping into the light to save the project they believed in. Even when the entire world doubted them, Solana's core kept running, block after block. Slowly, against all odds, trust started to rebuild. It wasn't driven by a big corporation or a charismatic founder, but by the relentless work of its community. New NFT marketplaces emerged. DeFi protocols began to find their footing again, and users started to tentatively return. Solana wasn't dead. It was being reborn, forged under the immense pressure of a near-total collapse. The fall of Solana was never just about a token's price. It was a brutal lesson in trust, centralization, and the fragility of reputation. In crypto, where value is built on belief, reputation is more delicate than any line of code. But the story also showed that recovery begins with transparency, perseverance, and a strong, committed community. As Solana continues to rebuild, its greatest strength is no longer just its speed or scalability, it's its proven resilience. This journey transformed Solana from a project defined by its powerful backers to one defined by its dedicated builders. It's a story of trust lost, and trust being painstakingly rebuilt, one block at a time. If you believe in the long game and the power of resilience, subscribe to DCA Crypto, where every story reveals a cycle. Thanks for watching.